Welcome back, everybody. We are going into part 3 of today's episode of RollPlay Nebula Jazz. It started as a sitcom, and now it's turned into some kind of Matrix Dark City thing. I'm, for one, quite excited about it. Rex, you are carrying Aurora deeper into the simulation, which is sort of unfolding and collapsing around you as Aurora's natural talent or ability to hack the system is kind of keeping it at bay from forcing you back into sitcom land. And then meanwhile, Quinn, you've just been introduced to a mysterious stranger in the simulation chamber. So let's start there. So you're like, who are you? And we see this old man, and he says to you. He says, I'm just like you, Quinn. I'm someone who cares very much about Aurora. And he kind of like looks at you like, are you going to put that cabling down?
Yeah. Quinn drops the cable a little bit and turns to him and goes, go on.
He says, you may not know this, but Aurora is very special. Not just to me, or to Alaxatron, but to the whole galaxy. She's one of only a few of her kind left. And he looks over at her, kind of like sleeping fitfully, and he's got the like concerned grandpa face down, and he kind of like, and puts a wrinkled hand to his perfect beard, and looks at her with concern.
Quinn looks at her and then looks back at him and says, what have you created?
He says humans are fragile creatures, easily overwhelmed by their emotions. We've given Aurora the ability to process hers in an environment that is safe for her kind. And he gestures to the machine. We constructed this so that when she was young and overwhelmed with her situation, she had a place to explore safely. If you interrupt her now, there's no telling what her emotions might do.
Quinn looks at Aurora and then looks at everyone else and then back to Grandpa Bot and is like, shut up! Everyone knows humans are dead. There's no such thing.
He shakes his head. He says, no. People have said the same of your kind, Quinn, and we know the truth there. We managed to save a few, and there are some still out there. What we hope is with a little training and time, Aurora will help us find them, so they can be protected.
Quinn, like, erupts in a rage and is like, you're lying! And, like, slashes the cords to Eugene's
Oh,
tank,
good, yeah. Get Eugene in on this.
Yeah, slash the cords to Eugene's tank.
All right, so Eugene, suddenly all of your consciousness is in one place, and you're like in this tank, like pressed up against the inside of the tank, and you hear like all muted through the tank walls, like this conversation.
Right.
You're in like a little box. When you lift your claw to strike, like Grandpa takes a step forward and then sees that you're like going after Eugene and kind of like scowls. Maybe the robots, maybe some like weapons start coming out of the wall, and he just puts his hand up like, no, it's okay. I've got this under control. You don't have to kill him. So we cut back to the simulation. So Rex and Aurora, you're like moving through this space. Aurora, what do you? So you have a plan. You want to like get to the like core of it and like escape. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I want to be able to basically hack our way out of this by getting to the core and either disabling it or hacking it.
Sure. And you've never been like this aware of a simulation before. Like all of the stuff that happened to you as a child, right? Like your 10th birthday party happened in that house with your mom and your dad and Lass and Sparky, and you remember opening presents and eating cake. Like all of your memories are of that world. So It's very jarring for you to have this sudden realization that maybe it's not real.
Well, and I think like as we're running through the simulation, that's when Rex starts to see things he no longer recognizes as I go through like my history inside this place. And you start seeing like her first kiss, and it wasn't with Billy, it was with another guy. And then you start seeing like her birthday parties and having friends over for sleepovers, and we're like running through houses and whatnot and neighborhoods and going through.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's see how well you can control that. So you roll and I'll roll, and I think you're being like forceful in this case because you're trying to like push at the walls of the simulation.
Okay.
So I'll
forceful or clever, right? Because I'm also trying to outwit.
I mean, I guess that's the thing. How do you respond when the simulation tries to shove you back into like what's expected of you?
I think that's when I keep like telling myself this isn't real. I know I've been here before. I know what this is, and then I go to a specific memory that no one's ever seen. Well, only one other person has seen. It's a conversation with Grandpa, the real Grandpa that I grew up with, that got really close. That said that sometimes it wasn't real.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you run into a scene, and Rex, you see this. You're on the street, and it's like an earlier iteration of the street. So maybe the houses are like a little different. They hadn't quite like refined the difference between each house. So there's some like copy pasting of models, and there's like a little girl. And she's got like tears in her eyes, and she's like sitting on the sidewalk, and there's a bicycle tipped over in the grass, and she has like a skin knee, and you see Grandpa, right, the same one that Quinn is seeing, but he's wearing a cardigan, and a white button-up shirt, and he's holding a little first aid kit. And he's patting her on the back, and he's saying to her, and you catch this even through the kind of like chaos around you, because this is happening in a tiny enclosed space, and then there's all these weird memory folding happening around that. But over the thing, you hear him say to Aurora, he says, sometimes, Aurora, when things seem bad, you got to remember that it's all about perspective. And when I get upset, I always whistle a little tune to help me stay focused. And you hear him like whistle these notes, and something about that sound, like even to you, like Rex, like gets at you. Like there's something strange about that noise.
Yeah.
And Aurora, you hear that. Let's have you roll. You can.
When he does this though, I want it to be like when I hear that tune, as I'm trying to dominate, like take control of the system. If I succeed, I want to like whistle through like my trapped self, where Quinn and Eugene will hear it.
Well, I'll tell you a little more about the thing that he's teaching you if you can beat me. So let's see. I got a 3.
What am I rolling?
No, it's Aurora. Aurora's rolling clever.
Okay.
If you can help, if you can think of a way to help, then you're welcome to give her a +1.
I mean, he's helping me because he's carrying me. He's already like, I'm just thinking now.
I think you need more than physical support though, because he's not actually carrying you. He's just thinking. So what? I mean, if like I want to know from Rex, like how are you helping here? What support are you giving Aurora?
Man, like I think what's happening is that we've run up on this small scene with like a small Aurora and the Grandpa, and Rex is kind of like broken down to a jog, and he stops running, and he's put Aurora down in front of the Grandpa. So there's 2 Auroras. One is the adult one, and one is the child one, and they're sat next to each other, and they're still both looking at this Grandpa. But what's happening around them is that other people from her life are phasing in and trying to like step into the altercation.
Right.
I think what Rex is doing is just like haymakering, like a simulation of like Aurora's robot mom appears, and she's like, "Time to come home, dear." And Rex just like punches her head off, and then
amazing.
like her dad appears on the other side.
Totally.
And is like, now Aurora, and he like rips him in half.
Right. So it's almost like a zombie movie in that the edges of the scene, there's just a never-ending supply of replicating suburban humans that just kind of like keep coming in, trying to be like
people from her childhood that are coming in and trying to like stop Rex from interfering or helping.
You're gonna be late for ballet, or bam, head off. Like
and he's just like
carrying
through arms, and every time he like critically injures one, they just vanish. They just like disappear.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah. So Aurora, you get a +1. which puts you at 3, which ties with me. I'm gonna spend a fate point to invoke a very special episode, because it's the system fighting back. So I got a 5. Do you want to spend your last fate point to?
I'm definitely gonna try. I'm gonna spend my last fate point. So,
Okay.
I am the happy-go-lucky mechanic of Alexatron, and I know this world just as well as a lot of them do. So I have studied. They've trained me in this, and I've been in here before, and I know that it exists. And being in front of my grandpa one last time gives me perspective on exactly a different kind of perspective on what's going on that maybe I didn't learn as a little girl, but I'm just now learning. Like something that maybe he knew might happen in the future.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so you use your point, which puts I rolled a 3, you rolled a 2 and got a +1 from Rex helping, so that put you at a 3. We both spend a fate point, so we're tied, which means you can have the thing you want, which is to get access to the core and whatever, but it'll be more complicated or have a cost associated with it, and you don't have any more fate points, so that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And so what happens, I think, is that. Grandpa whistles this little tune, and it somehow changes. Basically, what's happening is that from within the simulation, he's given you something you can do to tell the simulation that you have more access to it than you should. Right? He's giving you like an admin password, and you see the door of one of the houses nearby open slightly, and there's like a golden light kind of coming out of it, and so you to like go through there, that he's opened this door for you.
And as I see that, I whistle it myself, and that's when it plays through to Quinn and Eugene and future Grandpa. But then I immediately like get up from like kneeling next to Grandpa, and I run back. I'm like, "Come on, Rex!" And I just like run for the door. And as I get closer, the light just slowly starts to like just consume us into it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you run for that. Meanwhile, Quinn and Eugene, you're in the room with Grandpa, and he says to you, Quinn, he has his hands up sort of conciliatory. He's like, "I'm sorry for the deception, but Aurora is very important to us, and it was important that you were involved in her simulation to help her process the things that have happened to her. If we could have done it any other way, we would have. I'm sorry. I understand you must be upset, but please, it's for the best. For Aurora."
Quinn looks down at the puddle that is Eugene.
Yeah, I'm slowly putting myself back together now.
And then looks to Grandpa Bot and says, "One thing you never understood about my people when you destroyed our worlds, and about Earth when you destroyed their world. Emotions, you can't kill those. You shouldn't ever apologize for being emotional. It's a sign you have a big heart, and that you aren't afraid to let others see it. Showing your emotions is a sign of strength." And I like just go ape shit and like punch right into Grandpa Bot's like chest. Like just right in there and pull out
you
his,
have a heart.
pull out his robot heart.
All right, let's go ahead and roll forceful.
Fuck yes, I want this.
I like
so
the idea
badly.
that you punch where his heart should be, but there just isn't one.
Right, because they're heartless robots. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, I want a +2 on that for hacker jacking.
Okay, hang on. Let me roll against you. So I think he's going to. Here, I'm gonna roll.
He's the chosen one, the emotional lizard man.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a 2. I got a 3. And you want to spend one of your points?
Yes, to hacker jack that.
Right, because you're used to taking apart robots.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so that puts you up to 4. Unless do you want to re-roll, or do you want to
No,
bump
I'll
it up
take
to
a 4.
Okay, because I've still got 2 points, and he's got aspects you don't know about.
What?
Yeah, look, you can see my points. Look, I can outspend you.
I literally I can't do anything anyway because I have no more points to spend.
Yeah, what I mean is if you spend, you've got a +3 on the roll. That was like you got a pretty like low roll. So you could re-roll and hope for something better to add that 3 to. or you can just take a static 4, in which case I have to spend a point to beat you.
Can
How
I
many points do you
help
have?
add 1? I guess it's only 1 though.
Yeah, I'll re-roll. What the hell? What's the worst could happen? I get
It's
a
a pretty
negative.
bad roll.
It could get worse.
It was
Yeah.
a pretty shitty roll, to be honest.
All right,
Yeah,
let's have
two
fun.
minuses and a nothing.
Let's have fun. We can do it.
Okay, roll that forceful. Of
course.
Of course.
I knew that was gonna happen.
All right.
That's why I don't go to casinos, kids. I always lose.
So I think what happens, you're like, it shows you have a heart. Rah, and you like punch your hand into his chest. He doesn't try to stop you. He just like lets you shove your hand in. And you go to pull your hand out, and all of these like filaments and like metal pieces are like closing around your arm and kind of like crawling up towards your body. And you like feel yourself getting stuck in like Grandpa's chest. And he shakes his head and he says, like in full like scary robot voice, he's like, "What a pity to have to destroy another organic creature." And he like reaches out to grab you and like pull you into him as he tries to nano machine you. So he's gonna try to consume you. Eugene, what are you doing while this is happening? You've like squirted out of the jar.
Right. I want to say that so I squirted out of the jar and I'm like slowly putting myself back together, and I've only heard like half of the conversation because again I was in the jar and it sounded like you know. And right as I'm like back to normal, I look over and I see Quinn just like punch the grandpa, and I'm like, whoa, okay, what are we doing? And then I see like. It's very obvious that Quinn is in like a bad spot. Like he's not the victor right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I want I want to say that because I was able to infiltrate these like big cords that were going into the helmets, I want to try to do that same kind of a thing and disrupt what this guy's trying to do to grab Quinn.
Right, because he's got kind of like a metal slime thing going on where he's become like fluid. You've kind of punched through the shell, and the internal grandpa is like a gray kind of nano fluid. It's like trying to grab you, and so there's a similarity between the two of you in that way.
Which is why they couldn't tame him in the simulation.
Yeah, exactly. You're too complicated. So what do you're gonna go try to grab Quinn and like pull him free, or what do you?
I want to like also cover Quinn's arm basically.
Right, to counter slime him.
Yeah, I want to counter slime.
Okay. All right. Well, let's roll. You are being clever, I guess, here.
Okay.
So I will roll Grandpa's forceful, and then you got to roll against that. So
Fuck, really?
I got
A 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So because the whole thing is they're trying to keep me trapped in this simulation to keep me at bay or whatever. And when I whistle and they hear it, would that not distract him to let him know, oh gosh, she made.
I mean, he's everywhere, right? Like Alexatron is one big robot brain, so he knows what's going on. You can't really distract him because he's perceiving everything all at once.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a piece of a much larger intelligence that encompasses the whole world, essentially.
Okay.
I rolled a 2.
Okay. You want to spend some of those fate points, Eugene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I would love to.
Okay.
Man, nothing really works toward me being brave ever, though.
No.
I don't have
an
lots
idea.
of like what?
You can use less is more and say because your body's not fully reformed and some of you is still like more fluidy, then you're able to cover Quinn's arm quicker than if you'd have been fully formed.
All right, like
Slimy self.
I'm not quite as like hard gelatinous yet.
Yeah, you're
I'm
still like
kind of like
you're still a
goopy and
pretty soft
weird.
gelatinous. Yeah,
Right,
you're
yeah.
still more liquidy right now.
Well,
Right.
can't you do if you want to use 2, that we are all connected, where like other parts of you probably fell out of the tank and are also reforming and going up different parts of Grandpa's body and Quinn's body. So So that
Yeah,
we
I mean, to beat me, you're gonna need to use 2 points.
I know.
If you don't want to tie, so.
Um.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Can I invoke a very special episode still?
Yeah, sure. This can still be the very special episode. How? What sitcom-y thing do you want to do?
Not sitcom-y, but I want to say that I'm pulling from another kind of like action movie trope in that
Okay.
I'm the disgusting coward who is going to fight against that part of myself to save one of my best
okay. I'll
friends.
let you do it if you make a little speech first.
I like look over and I'm like, oh no, you're not gonna take him down, not without me. And I like, whoosh-ah, I like try to like throw a bunch of myself on top of him. Like, you can't take him because we're a team, and together we'll defeat you. And then I like have this moment where I'm like, where did that come from?
All right, cool. Yeah, absolutely. So you push. How do you get like you get what you want, and what does it look like? So you repel the grandpa robot. What does it look like when that happens?
I wanna say that like it's almost kind of Dragon Ball Z-ish, where you see like his arm.
Of course it is.
you see like his
course
arm
it
and
is.
all of this like black goo is kind of
Trump
like crawling up his arm, right? But then you also see like a bunch
No.
of green goo, and the green goo is like fighting it off, and they're like,
Amazing. They're fighting over Quinn's body.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're able to like push Grandpa Bot back, and he kind of staggers back as your hand yanks free of the inside of him, and it like reforms, and his suit kind of like reforms, like little Legos kind of like build up into his lapels, and he looks kind of like startled that this could happen, and he just says, he looks at Eugene, he's like, fascinating, and we cut back to the golden door as
Sorry,
you.
wait, can I
Yeah.
also say that like
Good.
because again my body wasn't like fully formed up, it just looks like Quinn is covered in this gross green splatter. Like I'm just all over him,
Yeah.
and then a little mouth forms right next to his ear, and I'm like, sorry buddy, I thought that was going to be a whole lot cooler.
Yeah, you're like covered in Eugene. Yeah, covered in Eugene.
No.
That's the name of Eugene's jazz cover album. Eugene plays all the hits. Meanwhile, back in the simulation, Rex and Aurora, you emerge from the simulated neighborhood through the back door in the system, and you're in. And I don't think so. Your context, Rex, you don't have any context for this place. I'll describe it to you, but Aurora, you remember this place from when you were a kid. One of your friends got really sick, and it was like it was an episode of your life to help teach you about mortality and about like loss. And so one of your friends got like really sick, and a big part of that episode took place in a hospital. So you're in what looks like the hospital set. So there's like a polished linoleum floor. Everything is that kind of teal, like hospital green color. There are gurneys kind of around and like doctors and everything. And you can hear a baby crying somewhere down the hallway. And you like step out into this, and everything is stable here. You're in a stable pocket, so there's no like chaos happening. Suddenly it's quiet. There's no music, none of that. You can just hear this like and it's not like a big scary like high pitched baby crying, but just like you can hear a baby crying
Alone
in
or something.
one of the rooms, far down the hallway.
I'm going to walk towards this room.
Okay.
And
Right.
just if Rex follows, he follows. If not, but I think I just become locked on finding out like where this baby's crying. So, especially since it's if it's a human baby, then it's something that isn't very hurt a lot because there's not humans anymore. So, has a very distinct cry.
Totally. Yeah. You hear Rex, you hear a strange sound. You've never seen an infant human. Honestly, I think pretty much no one has. not in a long time anyway. And so yeah, you just hear this weird noise.
Yeah. And Rex is he knows at this point that his ticket out is Aurora, and he's just a willing passenger on this ride. So if she's gonna go towards the sound, he just follows, and he's kind of just like staring around, and he can hear their breathing just echoing off these like quiet, pristine hospital walls, and their boots clacking, and he just follows Aurora towards the sound.
Okay, all right. So Aurora, you start walking down this hallway, and we walk past on the left a big plastic or glassware window, and you can see all these little plastic cradles, and everything is decorated in pastel pinks and blues, and like little pictures of like dancing elephants and bears and like other Earth stuff that you wouldn't recognize. You're just like, that kind of looks like an Ursinian, but they walk on 2 legs instead of 4. And so you see like cartoon animals and stuff. This little nursery as you walk by, and there isn't anyone in, like, they're all empty, all the little like things. And as you get closer to the end of the hallway, you hear a woman like kind of singing like a little lullaby to like calm the baby down. And Aurora, you recognize the song. You've never heard of it. We've never heard it on screen, but something in your brain is just like you immediately get this rush of remembering that song and this woman's voice. Like you've heard it before.
Yeah. And I think like as we get to the window and I look in, I think her eyes just well up with tears, and she clenches to like the part of the seal of the window and like leans as close as she can, and she goes, "Where are we?" Like talking to Rex, just wanting any answer as she like has trouble speaking because she's about to cry.
I don't think I'm the person to be asking, Aurora.
But
you got us here.
But who is that? I know them. And then that's when you see her like start banging on the window.
Well, yeah. So the sound is coming from a door near the nursery. You're walking past the nursery.
So can I see my
baby? You could go up to the door. That's where the sound is coming from.
Go up to the door then, and I'm just gonna open it because I need to know like where this noise is coming from.
So the door should just swing open, but you push on it and it doesn't. You can see through the little window, and you like shove against it, and it's even though there's a crack of it like opens, you can hear the sound coming out. It doesn't move at all. And you look through the window and you can see a hospital bed, and you see what at first kind of like shocks you because it looks like you. Like she looks a lot like you, maybe like a little different in the face. She's wearing a hospital gown and she's like laying down in a bed. But there's something like it's like looking at an older version of you. And she has like a bundle of cloth in her arms that's making that baby noise, and she's like bouncing it and like singing to it. Standing next to her, you see the grandpa from the other room. He's not wearing the white suit. He's wearing like a blazer and a tie and everything. And he's standing, and he looks kind of like he's paying very close attention to the two of them. And the woman is just like, and she's like been crying, like something is upsetting her. But she's trying to calm her baby down and like keeps shushing it and like humming this little like lullaby.
I start, as the door doesn't open, I keep pulling on it, and I just start running like, who is she? What? Help me! Just help me get down the door. I need to find out. And I freak out. I'm like, eat it, do something. And I'm like talking to Rex all the time, but not looking at him. I'm just like, I just need to get this door down.
Rex like inspects the door on the wall. Does it look like it could budge?
I mean, it should, yeah. Like it's not even closed. Like you should just be able to pull it, but it's like stuck because it's not real and it's a simulated door and you're not physically moving an object. But yeah.
Yeah. Rex, gives it a good hard tug and a shoulder bash, and it doesn't move.
And you see her sort of like I slumped down and I'm just sitting on the ground, and just tears are just falling off my cheeks and onto the ground below me. And I want to. There's no way I can now interfere with the system at all.
You're viewing a memory taken from your own brain. You're not consciously aware of it because it happened to you such a long time ago. But yeah, it feels just like watching the other memories that you've been a part of. You can't really affect them because they've already happened. You can't change what occurred.
And I think that's something that this is the first time that Aurora is not realizing that this is a memory. Not yet, at least. She thinks that something's happening, and that person, like, she knows her and needs to find out who she is. And so she just keeps, I just keep like freaking out and trying to get inside and staring in the window. And then I see the man, and he looks like Grandpa, you said?
Yeah, it's your grandpa. It's the same, like, and he's been the same age forever, right? He looks exactly the same every time you've ever seen him.
And I think that's the first time that Aurora just, like, for a second, just stops sobbing. And she looks at him, and then she looks at the woman, and she just whispers, Grandpa?
Cool. So you say that. We cut back to Grandpa in the other room, looking at Eugene dripping off of Quinn's side. And he says, there's no reason for anyone to get hurt. Besides, what are you planning? To tear your friends free and run back to your ship and flee the planet?
Yeah, basically.
And he shakes his head and he says, don't be foolish. I am the planet. You can't escape us. We can talk, negotiate this peacefully. You have to let Aurora finish processing. And he looks over at her, and you can see, like, she has tears streaming down her face, and she's obviously in distress. Whatever is happening to her is upsetting her a great deal.
I mean, am I still covered with Eugene?
Yeah. Eugene's like kind of on you.
I'm trying to get off of you. Sorry, dude.
Yeah. Man, I all right. So I am not at all focused on Eugene. Like, the Eugene presence on me exists, but I am more noticing Aurora than I am the goop that is on me. And so I turn back to him like, this is about what you want, not what she wants.
Yeah, and he says, she doesn't understand what she is. And he takes a step forward and he says, if you care about Aurora at all, you won't let her know. She's too fragile. And he looks at her, and like, he does genuinely care about her. You can tell that by looking at him. He says, maybe sometime in the future. For now, Aurora believes she has a family, parents, friends, that she belongs here on Alaxatron. Would you shatter that illusion?
She does
Quinn...
have a family. She's got us. And then
pal.
The little whisper mouse comes back up to his ear, and I was like, was that cooler? Did I do that? Did I do it this time? Is that better?
That was pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Quinn looks down at Eugene's mouth and then at Aurora and then back to Grandpa Bot and is like, what she knows is a lie. What she believes is a lie. She has a family. She has us. I think you don't understand her at all.
And he shakes his head and he says, we understand a great many things, Quinn. Things that you may have forgotten. We could be of help to you. And he kind of smiles, like, beatifically, like, we can make a deal here, man. Don't fuck this up for me. And he says to you, we know things about what happened, about the Serpentis. We can restore your honor, Quinn, and I'm totally gonna compel your ass.
Did he say that?
Damn.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna compel your ass from here to Kentucky, my
Go
friend.
on.
I'm gonna offer you
slime. He's like, go on.
the compel here is that, like, yeah, the Alaxatronian cyber library is like the greatest, source of all knowledge in the galaxy. If anyone knows something that could help you clear your name on your home world, it'd be these guys. All you got to do is just let them keep lying to Aurora.
I'm gonna counter compel.
Oh,
I'm gonna counter compel.
We've never had a counter compel. This is crazy.
This is unprecedented.
Quinn, you know that everybody hates the lizard men, especially this fucking guy. And you can see to the right of Rex, there are 2 lizard men still trapped in a simulation, strapped into these chairs with helmets on their heads. And you realize, no, what this guy's done for lizard men is unforgivable. If people hate lizard men, it's because of this guy.
So, yeah, I mean, this is an unprecedented situation. I feel like we got to do these one at a time. So, the way that both of these could potentially resolve, would be that because you are not in a position to say no, Quinn, you have to take the compel that I offered. But you can harbor the knowledge that everyone hates them and that they hate you, and that if you can just use them later, you can get your revenge. But you still now like kind of have to go along with it for the sake of Serpentis, right? That you're torn between your loyal to Aurora, but you don't have any fate points right now, my friend. So unless you want to offer like a counter, we can talk about it. But you can't flat out say no to my compel. And then Rex can also, Sam can compel you to be like.
I guess my compel is that you're obviously going to accept his offer, but you retain the knowledge that you can't trust this guy. He's bad, and you need to get your lizard bros out of here. That's my compel.
Yeah, so in like a weird only done in Animu fashion, because that's where Dukes took me. Quinn sort of like snaps from being very like I've got to save everyone to he like looks down for a minute, and then he sort of like sheds himself of Eugene.
Yeah, peel Eugene off.
Yeah, and then walks towards the grandpa and says, "You're right. You have all the answers I need." And starts to walk towards him, and puts his hand out to like be led to technology.
Yeah. And I think he says to you, he says, "Good. I have many truths to show you. Come with me." And they turn their back on you, Eugene. You're just
I was gonna say, can I like low key be like, cool? Well, I know how to disconnect these now, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're being menaced. There's a bunch of like other like robots kind of, and actually, I'm gonna compel you as well. I'm gonna compel your disgusting coward. I don't think you do anything. I think you just. Like Quinn just gave in. I don't think you're brave enough to do anything. I think you're just like, okay, whoa! I'll go back to my tank now. Please don't hurt me. So you can lose.
No, I don't want it.
You're gonna lose the fate point you have.
Yeah,
all right.
I don't want it.
All right.
I don't want it. I'm gonna be a wise ass. They like turn their backs on me, and I'm like, welp. Looks like that's settled, huh? We're all back at neutral. Doing great. We're all friends, huh? And I like kind of slime around like near where the other guys are hooked up, near where the other 2 lizard men are hooked up. And be like, well, man, so glad that all that altercation is over, huh? That was quite the stuff, wouldn't you say? And I lean against one of the chairs, and I just let a little bit of slime drip onto one of the wires. And then I start to do the exact same thing that I did to Quinn.
Sure. So before you do that, let's cut back inside. So Aurora, we see you like pressed up against the glass, watching this happen, and we can hear the inside of the scene. The woman has stopped singing, and Grandpa like leans over. And he says quietly to the woman, "What's your?" I'll let you, if you have a name, Pokket, you can come up with one, or we can come up with it later. But he says this woman's name. Like I mean, I think it's clear to everybody right now who she is. But what's the name of this woman?
Her name's Beverly.
Okay, so he leans over and he says, "Beverly, it's time," and she looks up and kind of like wipes her face, and she says, "You're sure she'll be safe?" And Grandpa nods, and he says, "Of course, everything we discussed." And she shakes her head and she says, "It's just such a shame. There's so many beautiful things in the world I wanted to show her. And he says, I'm sorry, Beverly. Everything ends. And he takes you from her. And he turns to look at the window of the room, and we can see like a city outside. And somewhere in the distance, we see a thin lance of blue light kind of like cut down through the clouds towards the earth. And he starts to like Star Trek teleport away, and then everything goes white. It just like goes white.
like,
and then you and Rex are just standing in an empty white space.
I think like right as he's taking the baby, I finally realized what's going on, and I just start screaming no and beating on the window even more.
Yeah.
And then everything just disappears in front of me. You see me like fall forward on the ground, and I just like I become like angry and sad, and I just like start like screaming, and it's just like this overwhelming feeling of something I've never felt before when I'm usually pretty happy, and I don't know how to control like the anger.
Yeah. So what I want to do, I want to offer you a compel here, Aurora, is that your Alexatronian programming kicks in. You have this like final cathartic like shriek of like powerless rage, and then you realize like, no, this is all a simulation. Like I am a perfect machine. I am a member of the people of Alexatron. I am a facet of the glorious hive mind. These emotions, they don't mean anything to me. And I think you just like push it all down, and you get like cold. That robot Aurora emerges from that freak attack. You don't forget anything that happened, but like all those feelings, they just like turn to ice.
The way I don't have a choice. I gotta take the compel. So I feel like the way she does it though is she's like she's angry, and she's still like got tears coming down, and she's like, no. I don't have emotion. I'm a robot. This is not happening. This is real. This is not real. And then you see her like straighten up her blouse and like fix her hair and wipe away like the makeup that smeared down her eyes. And then she like stands up, and her face is just stone cold, and she turns to Rex, and she's like, let's go.
Yeah, and I think that Eugene, as you're like leaning over, like I'm gonna save my friends. You like lean over. You can see we can see Aurora, like thrashing in the chair a little bit, and she's actually like restrained, so that she doesn't hurt herself. So she's like thrashing around a little, I think tears streaming down her face, and her little like machine is just going crazy, and then it just goes and like stops, and just like a straight line gets drawn out on the monitor, and then there's like a cheerful kind of like a Korean washing machine finishing its cycle. It just makes this like boop beep boop boop like song, and then all the little lights on the machines turn green, and all the restraints pop open, and the two of them, Rex and Aurora, like both kind of open their eyes as if waking from a deep sleep. So yeah, Rex and Aurora, you find yourself in this room with Eugene kind of like leaning over one of you. Maybe Rex, you wake up and a bit of Eugene kind of like drips onto your face. Yeah.
I look down at my Pit Boy, and automatically like I push some buttons, and is Sparky in the room? Because if not, I want him to like run into the room.
Yeah.
And as he runs in and everyone's like taking off the cables and all that, I want to be like, okay, take me to him. And Sparky will know I'm talking about take me to Grandpa.
Yeah. Well, and that's the tricky thing about Sparky. Like, can you trust him? Right? Like, is Sparky?
Well, I think that's the thing though. Like, she has that in her mind now. Can I trust Sparky? Can I trust anyone here? They like never told me these things, and I know what I saw. But am I a part of them, or am I that person that I saw in the past? And while I'm repressing it, I'm still just like, I just want to see him. I need answers. I need to see Saber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Rex just stands up and like cracks his neck and looks around, and he's like, someone's going to die for this.
After when he says someone's going to die for this, I imagine that it's like a tight shot on his face. and then you just slowly see like a little Eugene arm come up and like grab the slime off his cheek and go, sorry about that.
Let me get that. I'll just
Yeah, let me just hold on. Sorry, I'm been having some troubles ever since they put me in the whatever that is.
It's fine. It's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Sparky doesn't know what anything that you don't know, or at least acts like a dog. So where do you go? What do you do after you have free? You're not a prisoner. You have free reign. You can wander around Alexatron.
I'm going straight to Saber. I'm going straight. I'm gonna try and find him, and I don't know. Well, I guess I no one's told me that Quinn also went with him, so I'm gonna go find him because now that I remember that memory, I want to know what it was exactly because I still have the question of what did I see there? What was?
Well, let's cut to a scene with Quinn and Saber, right? So Saber has taken Quinn to the great library of Alexatron, which, because it's sci-fi, all of the information is stored in crystals because I don't know, whatever. So you're in this kind of tower-shaped thing, and we get the nice establishing shot of all the machinery of Alexatron operating, and then there's this huge crystalline sort of spire with all these kind of arms coming off of it, glittering in this electric blue, and you're inside a vast machine library, and it looks like, I guess, probably looks like the inside of, at the end of 2001, where it had all the clear plastic bits. It's just walls of that, in all directions. And I think as you walk in, because we wouldn't know this just to look at it, that's what Saber is saying. He's like, you're experiencing something very few organics get to see with their own eyes. The library of Alexatron, our sacred repository of knowledge. And he steps in and you see this, we get the long, showy kind of shot of the library. And he says, of course, to you, mere minerals, you'll need our special equipment to process them, but for doing this for us, Quinn, our resources are at your command. How can we help you?
Quinn sort of looks at all the different crystals, and he looks back at him and says, "I want everything on Slynn."
Yeah. He nods, and he says, your people's history is long. It will take some time to retrieve the information. And you can see maybe a flicker pass over his eyes, and he says, I've begun the query. And he looks at you and he says, you must be tired. Let me find somewhere for you to rest. To see your friends. And as if on cue, that's when the kind of doors open and we see Aurora and Rex and Eugene come into the library.
Rex had helped out the other two lizard men too, with a. So
those lizard men actually weren't attached to the same machines as you guys. You were the only ones that were in that room. If they're around, they're somewhere else.
Oh, really?
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So the three of you come into the library and you see this vast thing, and Eugene, I mean, even one of these little crystals would be worth so much if you could find someone to sell them to, right? A book stolen from the library of Alexatron.
Yeah.
It'd be worth so much, Eugene. So very much. Maybe,
yeah,
maybe you should.
Some of them are tiny, right? They wouldn't miss it.
Maybe you should. Yeah, I think I'm just go ahead.
Maybe I feel like maybe I could just.
You feel a sort of compulsion to steal something from the library. Yeah, if you're going to be the richest lizard man. So you look around, and if you had eyes, they would go wide and probably turn into little dollar signs. But so you walk in, and this is when Saber turns to your friends as they approach, and he says, "Here they are now."
And I just cross my arms, and I have no emotion on my face, but I just stare at him. I'm like, so, what was that about? Why did you put me in there? And why did you put them with me?
He says to you, he's like, Aurora, it's so good to see you. And he walks over and he like
And as he like
hugs you.
tries to wrap his like arms around me, I like push his arms away, and I'm like, no, I'm not here for that.
Yeah, and he looks hurt. And he I mean, I think everything about him is engineered to disarm you. So like, you know, seeing him is one thing, and then like he has this like grandpa smell that's been like specifically engineered from like the simulated smells of grandpas. And so you're like, you know, everything about him is trying to like get you to chill. And he says, you seem upset. Have you not been having a fun time with your friends? And he like looks at Eugene, kind of like, you know, your family.
Fun time. You put me in high school. Billy cheats on me, and then some girl shows up and gets stabbed. And then I don't know. I drank, and then I'm running through the streets with things chasing after me. And then I get carried. And then what? What was that? What was that last thing? I know you know what it was. And I turned around.
Yeah.
Remember the thing where we saw him and a woman?
He shakes his head and he says, "Oh, I don't know anything about any of that. I haven't been feeling well, Aurora. Maybe you heard. Spent some time being repaired, but I'm feeling much better now. I'd love to spend some time with you before you have to go."
This is happening, there's like a Dylan and Dutch handshake happening between Quinn and Rex from Predator, where he's like, yeah, it's just like shark
Quinn,
muscle
you son
on
of
like
a bitch.
lizard muscle. He's like, Quinn, you son of a bitch. Glad you're right.
Quinn looks around the room and then looks back to Grandpa and turns back to him and says, "You promised me answers, old man."
He nods, and he says, I know you're impatient to act, but give me time." And I think as he says that, like you can see the kind of like robot arms moving around, like pulling out certain chips and kind of like slotting them into some kind of like library and robot. And he'll be able to give you that information, but he's buying time, and also probably like testing to see if you'll go through with what you said you'd do. And then he turns to Aurora and he says, "I'm sorry, dear, because I haven't been feeling well. Your home has been restructured a little bit. You might have experienced some strange glitches, and your parents and I are so sorry for that. I know it can be jarring coming home from time away, but I'm sure you have so many stories to tell us. Your mom and dad are waiting to see you."
No, I know what I saw. I know what I saw when we were in there, when you had me in that device. I know what I saw. And it wasn't, it was a memory. That's what
Quinn, he looks at you like, you know, he wants you to help calm her down or like back him up. Because maybe if one of them, like one of you guys, one of her like, you know, crewmates is on his side.
Yeah, Rex like the Quinn looks at her and says, "I'm not sure what you think you saw, Aurora."
Rex puts his hand up to stop Quinn, and he's like, "I was there. The last moments of her mother and her planet before they went boom. Don't tell me that shit was fake."
Yeah, Grandpa puts his hands out like confused, and he says, "But Rex, this is her planet. You wouldn't understand this because you're not one of us." And he puts his hand on Aurora's shoulder, like obviously she is, and he says, "Aurora is a special prototype, and as we've told her before many times, sometimes that means that there's going to be glitches. Life's a little unpredictable." And he kind of like looks around. And he's like, "And isn't that what makes it so exciting?"
Rex smirks because go on.
I was gonna say at that moment you hear what sounds like a bunch of junk falling over, like in a cartoon, and then you hear Eugene's voice go, "Wow, look at all this knowledge! Oof, man, enough for days, huh? Continue on with your very serious conversation." I'm like around a corner somewhere.
Yeah, Rex, being a shark man, knows all too well that Aurora is dinner, and whatever this guy is not dinner. They are not the same thing at all.
Right. Yeah.
So Rex is not buying this same thing, and he kind of grins and he's like, "Sharkman knows, you two are very, very different."
And he nods and he says, "Well, of course we are. That's what a prototype is. Aurora here," and like pats her on the shoulder. "Well, she's no ordinary girl. She's the future of this world. Isn't that right, dear?" And he like kind of puts his arm around you and pulls you closer to him. And they've been telling you this your whole life, Aurora, right? That like, yeah, don't worry, honey. Like you're different from your friends because you're special, and you know you're gonna be the future for our planet. And like they've just taught you your whole life that like what he's saying is not new information to you. And you know, before you left Alaxatron, they said like people out there, they might not understand you. They might tell you, you know, lies about who you are. But remember your ties to your family.
I feel like
well, this is the thing. I'm gonna offer you a compel here to like, because you have family ties is one of your things. Alaxatron is your family. These people, they don't understand you. They're just like a weird shark and a big dumb lizard and whatever the fuck Eugene is. And like
didn't the grandpa tell Jesse that Quinn that she's a human?
Yeah, he totally did, and he made Quinn swear not to say anything to anybody. So yeah. And let's, before you decide whether you want to take this compel or not, before you want to like fold to Grandpa's pressure, let's take a break. Take our last break here. You can think about it. You can decide if you want to take it or not when we come back. So stick around. We'll see if Aurora is man or machine when we return. Nebula Jazz. Come back right after this.